Do you know where that's from, Josh? Do you know where that's from? You always say that to our guests.
Hey, can I just say something about that?
Always.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question for our listeners.
Oh, okay. I'll be quiet.
Do you love to travel?
Do you love road trips?
Do you love finding hidden treasures in towns all over the USA? Hi, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Craig. Welcome to Treasures of Our Town. It's the podcast that explores unique and charming towns scattered throughout the United States.
Guided by our love for location-based games like geocaching, join us as we venture into some of the country's most intriguing destinations, uncovering hidden gems and local secrets along the way.
So on today's episode, Josh, you went one direction, I went the other direction. We kind of traveled together but apart. That's the feeling that I got.
Yeah, we were all by ourselves. Don't want to be all by myself. Or do we want to be all by ourselves? Well, that's the question.
And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. Like, we're going to talk about different subjects that come up when you're on the road. I'll be honest, Josh, I get a lot of these questions a lot of the time because of my recent travels by myself.
Oh, yeah.
And so I want your opinion on the topic as well, because you've done some solo travel. And I'm going to ask you the questions that I get asked all the time as well. So
great. And spoiler alert, I enjoy some solo travel. Mm-hmm. Not all the time.
No.
But maybe half the time.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get started, as always, delays, upgrades. What do you want to start with, and how do you think? What
I will start.
Yes.
I will start with my upgrade.
Okay.
And totally not traveling related, unless you travel to Minneapolis, Minnesota. But I'm just really excited for our WNBA basketball team, the Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you my journey of women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I am an Iowa Hawkeye fan. Mm-hmm. And as you know, I love Caitlin Clark. If you're listening to this and you don't know who Caitlin Clark is, I'm like, what the heck? Even Craig, remember when we were traveling together? I think it was the Gulf Shores, and I was like, we have to watch this game.
Yes, we almost missed out on an event because we had to watch the game at a local bar. It was nice.
It was worth it. Mm-hmm. So Caitlin Clark, she's in the WNBA now, and she plays for the Indiana Fever. And so I've been watching almost every Indiana Fever game. But as I've been watching the Indiana Fever, you get to know these other teams, right? Mm-hmm. And I really have a new appreciation for the WNBA and women's basketball. It's very entertaining. And so the Minnesota Lynx tonight, as we're recording this, are in the WNBA finals, which they haven't done since 2016. Mm-hmm. So, and I went to the game. That sent them to the finals, the playoffs, or to the finals, not just the playoffs. Now, that was a lot of fun. And I got to go with Easter Bunny.
Not many people know this about you, Josh, and I'm going to spill some of your little habits right now for everyone listening too. There's only a select few of us that are close to you, like Tim, Minnesota boy, myself, etc., and a few others as well, that know your passion for sports, whether it be you do it with football, you do it with basketball. Mm-hmm. People don't understand this. They think Josh, he's such a nice, calm, relaxed sort of guy. He's a professional speaker in front of kids, so he's got a lot of patience. But not when it comes to the sporting things you watch. You've got to.
It's intense.
You've got a den downstairs. You've got a den downstairs.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, exactly right. You know exactly where I'm going with it. So people that are listening, you close your eyes and picture this. Josh himself is down in his den. As soon as he gets in his den, little Goliath, yes, cute, sweet, innocent Goliath, takes off. The dog, he takes off upstairs. Oh, yeah. He goes up to the room. He hides in the sheets, under the sheets in Josh's bed, waiting for this game, whatever he's watching, to be finished, because he knows that Dad is going to get loud. Dad jumps, Dad claps, Dad points. Dad does all this with no one else in the room. You do it by yourself. So if people watch Josh your videos and they think you've got high energy in your videos, they haven't seen you watch a game. That's all I'm going to say. So you're next level, mate. Level.
And it's so funny because Goliath is now tuned in. As soon as he hears like the roar of the crowd, he knows this is a game. I'm out.
I'm out. I'm done.
Like,
I'm done.
like I don't even need to start. I'm not even starting like yelling or screaming or clapping. He just hears the crowd and he's like, I'm not. And here's the thing. Goliath is like an attachment dog. You've seen Craig.
Yeah,
he is by my side at all times. He's literally at my feet right now.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, when are we going to do something?
Yep.
This is the only time. If I want to have some me time away from Goliath, I just put on a game.
Geez, so I'm feeling a bit upset now because here he is right now laying at your feet thinking to himself, okay, Dad's doing the podcast, so I sit now and relax and wait until he finishes the podcast and we're going to do something fun, when in actual fact, he doesn't realize that there's a game on straight after this podcast, and then he's going to run upstairs by himself.
I know.
Poor little guy. Poor little guy.
And it's so funny. I don't know if we've talked about this podcast. He like memorizes, I think, the outro to this podcast. Yes. So when I start singing the outro to the podcast, he comes over from the couch and comes back by me because he's like, it's almost over. Yeah. He's a smart dude.
He really is. He really is. And that's the time I get to actually wave at Goliath and see him on camera too, is when we finish the podcast. Yeah, we say the outro itself and here he comes running up and that's it. So he's a very good dog too, Josh. He doesn't really bark too much as soon as you're on a podcast. He's pretty good like that. He's pretty clever like that. Unless someone comes in and torments him, of course. So there you go. Yes. There you go.
All right. This turned into dog talk. Yeah, what's your upgrade?
My upgrade is that I just got back to New Jersey from going caching. Now, if you don't know what this is, so let me just say this.
Are we talking about this now or are we going to talk about it later?
A bit of both. I'd never been.
Bit of both.
I'd never been before, and so all I say for the time being is that I really enjoyed myself, and I'll explain the reasons why throughout today's episode. How does that sound? Did you like that?
Oh, it's a great teaser. It's a great teaser. It is a great geocaching event, and you know what? If you're not a geocacher and you're listening to this, which I'm not sure how many there are out there, just know that you'll probably talk a lot about Rome, Georgia in itself as a city and why people should visit Rome, Georgia.
Exactly.
All right. We have to go to our delays.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to go first or you go first this time for the delays? Mine is a genuine delay again.
Mine is sort of connected to one of my like a good thing.
Oh.
So I was planning a trip with our friend Minnesota boy, Tim Larson. And we were heading up we were going to go back to Gilby.
Oh.
And we were going to go to Detroit Lakes, which I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
That's
your trip.
And it was fine. He had to cancel on me.
Oh.
So I was kind of looking forward to hanging out with him for a weekend last weekend, but it didn't happen. But I wasn't afraid to go
by yourself. Exactly. And then this episode was born, you see? So
yes, this episode was perfect. It was all planned. Thanks, Minnesota boy. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim, for not going with Josh. That sounds so bad. Well, my delay, as it's been a delay of mine for several episodes, and that is I'm having car issues once again.
Craig.
So
it's time to get rid of it.
I think
you have so much in it, though. It's so hard.
That's the thing.
To get rid of it.
Yeah, I do have a lot of cash in it as such. So including the purchase price, the new engine, all the new bits and pieces, the bells and whistles, and the build out as well. I'm about $28,000 into this car.
Yikes.
So I think it's time, though, to bite the bullet, cut the cord.
Really?
Yeah. I think I'm going to.
What issues are you having now?
Same issues as before. Oh, we gave him, Josh, we're leaving that in for the listeners because we gave him credit for, he's such a good boy. Then bam, there he comes in. Because let everyone know who's listening, someone walked in the door and that's the reason why. So there you go.
Yes.
All right. So it's the same issues as it's been for the whole time before. It's a high rev engine noise issue. It's starting to stall now as well at lights and stuff.
No.
Yeah. On the way home, like my last day here, I was around the corner from my house and it's just gone boom and just stalled, totally stalled. So I've got a new battery in it too from the other week. So yeah. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Things happen for a reason, Josh. That's all I'll say. Things happen.
You've put a lot of miles on. I mean, you've put a lot of miles on it, but
Yeah,
Well,
kind
not as many miles as you hoped.
Yeah,
Let's be real,
exactly.
but
Exactly right.
you really hope this would have lasted a lot longer, but unfortunately, that's life, and
Yeah.
that is a delay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
That's a
highs
genuine.
and lows. That's what it's
Exactly right.
about.
Exactly right. Solo travel, Josh. That's what this episode's about.
Sounds
Solo.
like fun.
Yes and no, because some people are scared
Yeah.
of solo travel, and if you're one of
Yes,
those
this
people,
is true.
then we're here to help you and guide you through
Yeah.
to take that journey, take that step, take that leap of faith in yourself, because that's what we're talking about. Is you have to rely upon one and only person, which is yourself.
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic, and I think there's you're right. There's a lot of psychology behind it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of happening internally with people that maybe have a fear of traveling alone, or they've just never even considered it. I was having a conversation with somebody at work, and this kind of falls into the same sort of bucket. And I was talking about I'm not afraid to go to movies by myself.
Yep.
I'm not afraid to go to concerts by myself.
Yep.
If something I really want to do, and this particular coworker was like, I don't know if I could ever do that. And I just said, hey, just go for it. This is your life. Don't let anybody else stop you from living the life that you want to live. And I was so proud of her. And she came up to into my office one day and she's like, Josh, I did it. I went to a concert that I nobody really could go with me. Nothing. It didn't really work out. And he was like, you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. And she did it. And when she got over, it's just like getting over that hump, I think, to realize hey, I can really enjoy the attention or the company of myself.
Yes.
And I don't need other people. And we'll talk about it more. I think it opens up opportunities of human connection that you might not have otherwise, because when you're traveling with a companion, you're very reliant on
each other.
This is the people I'm hanging out with. It kind of opens you up with solo travel, in that oh gosh, I might have a conversation with somebody at a bar that I would never have, because I would be so reliant on the people that I'm traveling with.
That's exactly what I've experienced in the last few years itself. I was very similar. When I was married in Australia, young family, etc., there was no way and I would ever even go to the movies by myself. You know what I mean? Whereas things happen, we get older, we get wiser, and now the amount of times I've been to the movies alone, I've lost count. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to see that movie, or I had time, and no one else had time to go with me. I went, you know what? I'm just going to go and do it by myself as well. Think about this, people. If you want to go and watch that movie because you want to enjoy the movie, that's good. But if you want to go and watch that movie so you're allowed to get the big popcorn and your partner doesn't know that you're going to get the huge, humongous bucket of popcorn and devour it with all that butter on it as well. See, they're the joys, Josh. There's the highs, and you just don't have to talk about how much butter and popcorn you ate.
Yeah, you can have as much butter as you want.
Exactly.
And much salt as you want.
Yes. There you go. So there's one.
And some people might be listening to this too and thinking, I have a partner, and I would maybe consider doing something on my own, but I don't know how that would fly with my partner. And I think it's really important. If that's something that's important to you, have the conversation. And if there's this element of there's this give and take, is hey, this is something I want to do. I know you don't want to do that, or I know you don't necessarily want to go to this place, but I want you to know, you have the freedom. If there's something that you want to do that I don't want to do, that's totally cool. And we can, so I just think, I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in this, well, the only people that can travel alone would be somebody that doesn't have a partner.
Exactly. Single people. And that's just definitely not the case. Think about it as a positive, and that is, if you go to the movies, for instance, and you're by yourself and your partner goes to work, for instance, and then you come home over dinner that night, you're sitting down for dinner that night, they're talking about their work day, and you can actually talk about the movie that you watched, and your day. You know what I mean? So it's two different things. So it's a talking point, because you're not doing everything together either, you see? So...
it gives you something to talk about.
Exactly.
It strengthens your relationship. And you know what? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. They always say that.
Exactly. Very, very true. Very true. Mate, so do you want to dive in then and tell us your location, where you went, and we'll go from there?
So I was planning on going. I was planning a trip to again to Gilby, the Disneyland of geocaching. Now, if you don't know Gilby, we've had an episode on it. Go to that episode. But there's just so many amazing geocaches there. And they just recently launched a geo tour. So I have found most of the caches in Gilby, but as a part of this geo tour, the man that hit it, Tricassius, Chad. He hides all these amazing geocaches. And I'm talking about like some of the best geocaches in the world. And as a part of this geo tour, which is again a series of geocaches, if you find them all, you sometimes get a coin, and you sometimes get a digital. You do get a digital souvenir on your geocaching profile. Well, many of the caches in this geo tour I have found already. Great, except for the 5 new ones. 5. So I was like, I gotta make a trip up to Gilby to get these 5 brand new geocaches and check the boxes, get my coin. And as we all know, let's say our geocaches, yes, souvenirs are important to me. I think I'm number 4. I'm the 4th. I have the 4th most souvenirs in our state of Minnesota. That's like the only stat I even care about and keep track of. So any chance I get to get these digital pieces, and it's basically these souvenirs are like a digital piece of artwork, basically. And it's something that you don't have to dust. It's a souvenir you don't have to dust.
Yes,
really
exactly
nice.
Right.
So I wanted to get up there, but all summer I have been wanting to go to Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, which is on the way to Gilby. It's kind of 3 hours from here. And at this location, Greg, you and I have experienced this before, were the Thomas Dambo trolls. Do you remember the Thomas Dambo trolls?
We saw them in Kentucky.
Yes. So this summer, Thomas Dambo came to Minnesota, and he created 5 brand new trolls in this Detroit Lakes. And this is some special, an evil golden bunny.
Yes. Josh, for people out there who don't know about these trolls, etc.
Yes, let's talk about it.
What are they? Give us an example and try and picture in my mind for it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen these trolls, first of all, you should just Google Thomas Dambo trolls. There's hundreds of them. I think there's over 100 of them all over the world.
Yeah,
and this is a man. I believe he's Danish artist. He goes to an area and he creates these whimsical they're giants, these giant trolls out of recycled wood. And every single one is different. They all have like a similar look, right? They all kind of look like they're in the same like species of troll, right?
Yep.
But they're all different. So Craig, the ones we saw, remember we saw a child one, we saw a pregnant one,
lady, laying down,
pregnant troll, and this is just huge. And so it was really exciting. Detroit Lakes, there was a group called Project 412 in the city of Detroit Lakes. And to describe Detroit Lakes, it's basically cabin country. So it's 3 hours north of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And this is the place where people go to, vacation and have, sit by the lake and have a cabin or whatever. Yep. So just kind of a quaint city that, is considered cabin country. And so Thomas Dambo descended upon this place and it takes, these things are huge. So it takes volunteer. He's the artist, but it takes volunteers. I'm sure he's just like pointing, okay,
that piece there, that piece there, that piece there.
Piece there, piece there.
Exactly.
Hammer it in, screwed in.
Yeah.
So he's getting help with these, right? And so, yes, he created 5 brand new trolls. And Craig, and this is what makes it really cool, is that in Seattle, he also has these trolls that were created recently as well. And because Seattle is HQ, is where geocaching HQ is, they hopped on board with this. And they said, wow, Thomas Dambo. And Thomas Dambo is very much like story-driven, like treasure hunt, scavenger hunt minded. And when I explain what I experienced in Detroit Lakes, you'll understand this. So I believe Geocaching HQ reached out to Thomas Dambo and said, hey, this is geocaching, and we would love to make these official geocaches. So there's in Seattle, the trolls that are there, they are virtual geocaches.
Okay, virtual.
Okay, this is where it gets really nerdy.
Yeah.
It gets really nerdy here. is that within geocaches, geocaches have different attributes. So an example would be like when you go to a geocache page, it's like an attribute would be like poisonous plants, snakes present, bathroom nearby, short hike. Like so, when you hide a geocache, you can choose.
Wheelchair
you can
friendly,
choose these
all that sort of stuff. Exactly.
Wheelchair friendly, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a rare. This is so nerdy.
Yeah.
I apologize to the people that aren't geocachers.
Is it?
Let's be honest. There's probably not that many.
Are you going to say what I think you're going to say? Are you going to say what I think you're going to say?
Yeah. So this one has a rare because HQ worked directly with Thomas Dambo on this project.
Yep.
There's a rare partnership attribute.
Wow. Yes.
Yes. So partnership attribute. And before this, I had found maybe one, I personally had found 2 partnership caches.
I found one in Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Like the one I found was they partnered with PBS on the show Dinosaur Train. So this was longer. This is like over 10 years ago.
This is the same one I did as
10
well.
years
Same
ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. 10 years ago, they partnered with Dinosaur Train. And so I had just 2 of these geocaches. I mean, I found over 8,000 geocaches. Yeah. You had one over 10,000 geocaches, 12,000. 12,000. I have over 8,000. I've only found 2.
Yeah.
All of these trolls in Seattle had that partnership attribute. Okay.
What about, so it's just Seattle? They're not all the others as well?
No. Oh. So, sorry. So it was just Seattle until our friend Gia Caches, who works for HQ, her home area, she grew up close to Detroit Lakes.
Yeah.
And so she worked with Thomas Dambo once again. And now these trolls, this is a really long explanation. These trolls are also geocaches. They're all geocaches. And they're all partnership geocaches. And they're also Adventure Lab stages. So by completing all 6 stages, you got like 11 to 12 finds.
See, because as people don't, if you don't already know, people are thinking to themselves, Josh, how can you get 2 finds for one thing? Well, this is the thing with geocaching at the moment. This is the road in which it's gone down. That is, you can put a virtual geocache, which is the old type style geocache where nothing's hidden it, but you have to go there for a particular location and a reason. And they've also announced these adventure labs. But the adventure labs are not reviewed, so therefore anyone can put an adventure lab anywhere for any reason for no, on top of each other as well. And sometimes they do. So
and so these adventure labs were fun because they just answered a question that you could only answer if you were there, and they're location based. Yeah. But the cool thing about these virtuals are owned by HQ. These are HQs.
Yes.
Which is really kind of cool. That is
really cool. That is really cool. Very unique.
So I decided, I was like, I'm going to take half of my trip. So instead of a full weekend of going to Gilby, because Gilby is 2.5 hours still away from Detroit Lakes. It's like, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take Friday. I took last Friday off. I left early in the morning, drove the 3 hours there. That's 6 hours in Detroit Lakes, finding the trolls, having a little dinner and beer, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. And then I drove 3 hours back. So 6 hours of driving.
So you didn't even stay overnight. You didn't stay overnight.
I didn't. No, I didn't. And I debated. I really debated this idea of solo travel. I debated should I even go by myself? I even asked Reese. I was like, Reese, do you want to go with me? She didn't feel well. And so I was like, and I was like, you know what? I got the day off. I'm going to really regret. Like, I'm not going to regret going. You know what I mean? I'm not going to regret going.
You're going to regret not going. If you were to sit on the couch and watch television or whatever else, you'd regret not going. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, so I decided to do it. Got up early in the morning, and I don't have to describe it. I mean, you can search. Actually, here we go, Craig. On my TikTok and on my Instagram. Yeah. By the time this is posted, it'll probably also be on YouTube. I have a full video that I will be producing probably in several weeks on YouTube. Yeah. However, I got a 1-minute version on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and you can really just get a sense of what these trolls are. You get a sense of my day. Yeah. The one thing that's special about these trolls, Craig, is that Thomas Dambo, I told you that he's created hundreds of these, but this is the first time, first of all, that he created something I think other than a troll. this bunny, like remember that all the trolls are made of wood. This bunny was evil bunny. He looks evil and it's huge. He's a fat, you got to look at the pictures. He's a fat, evil bunny, but it looks different because it's not made out of wood. It's made out of recycled storage containers. Like totes, like yellow totes. Yeah, they ripped apart these totes and they made them out of this yellow plastic. So they're not like wood, like the trolls. The trolls are like made out of wood. So that's something unique. And the cool thing was that it was completely story driven. So you arrive at the first troll. This was, I think when we went to the one in Kentucky, there was a story, but there wasn't like a story that would lead you to something. So it was designed like a scavenger hunt where you go to the first troll and you get to the first troll and there was a book in front of it and you get the clues from the book, and the clues from the book tell you how to find the golden bunny in the city.
Yeah. So it's separate. It's not in the same location. It's you don't just walk the trail and see them all.
Yes, all 6 of them. I think you can easily find the trolls.
Yeah.
But you have to find, so basically you have to find each of the trolls to get a secret word. Each troll has like a letter on it, and you unscramble the letters, and then that will guide you to the golden bunny. So that's just I think that's just very unique to, I don't think Thomas Dambo has done anything like that. So that was just really cool. Another thing is Thomas Dambo created the tallest troll that he's ever created. His name is Longleaf. And if you'll see the video, he's 36 feet tall. 36 feet tall.
Wow. That's insane.
He's just like straight up and down. Like a lot of the trolls.
How does it keep him standing like that? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
If you look at it, like I am dwarfed. I sent you the picture, Craig. I am dwarfed compared to the size. It's 36 feet tall. So it's like 6 of me, basically.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. It's the tallest one he's ever created.
Yeah.
So, not much else. Just had a great day. It was a beautiful day. And let's be real, people, like, this is my opinion. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah,
October,
it is.
Up here especially. The weather is beautiful. The trees are changing colors. It's beautiful. It's my birthday in a couple weeks. I'm excited. I love this time. And this is the perfect, better than summer, I'd say, to visit these trolls because it's a little hot in the summer. But I'll say one thing more, Craig. Found all the trolls. And then I was like, went to the Google. I was like, what's the best brewery?
Yeah, there we go.
Where can I check in? Where can I check in on Untapped? We've talked about it before. And so went to this great brewery, had also food. I had some chicken. Have you ever had chicken and wild rice soup?
No, chicken and wild rice soup.
Oh, it's so good.
Not at all.
It's so good, Craig. You would love it. It's kind of a creamy soup. Wild rice is not actually, it's rice, but it's actually harvested from lakes. So the bottom of lakes, they get, it's a rice that they get that grows inside the lakes, like in swampy areas.
Yeah.
And then there's of course chicken in there. It's really good. So I had that, but then I had to have the most unique beer I could find. And there was a caramel apple sour beer. I sent you a picture.
You sent me a photo, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? So explain this. I mean, I'm a beer lover. I'm a beer connoisseur, self-proclaimed. And so a lot of our other friends as well. Rob Vardaman, he's one of them. He's got his own YouTube channel about beer as well. Tim loves a beer. We all love different types of beer. So if you haven't heard about us before on this podcast or another episode, I enjoy the IPA sort of style, the deep, harsh sort of beers. Rob enjoys the sours. And Josh, you're very much a light Miller High Life, usually sort of fan. So
just light.
When you sent me that photo, that shocked me a little bit. So this photo, just to describe it a little bit, it was a darkish sort of hazy coloured beer itself in a beautiful pint glass, and then around the top, I thought it was fake at first, Josh, but it's actually it was the rim was dipped in like a caramel sauce. Is that true?
Yeah. Caramel. However you say it. Caramel. Yeah, it was a very sour. It was a sour. It was it had apple flavor.
Yep.
And it was very sour. So to have it rimmed with caramel, it tasted like a caramel apple.
It's a sweet and sour. That would go well.
And it kind of like, it was so sour that the sweetness of the caramel really, I don't know, it really just like made it kind of toned back the sour.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, caramel apples are a big deal up here in the fall. So I could have, Craig, I was debating. I was like, do I just get the light beer?
No.
And that's what I was going for. And then I saw the caramel apple and I was like, oh, rimmed with caramel? Oh my gosh, I got to try that. It was very, very good.
Well, as I said, Josh, I saw the photo, and the first thing I thought about was, I'm proud of you, Josh. I'm very, very proud of you. And that's a rare thing these days. There you go. I got him before you did. No, yeah, and the perfect time of a year for that as well, being the autumn/fall with the pumpkin spice things that are out at the moment now, Oktoberfest beers, that sort of thing as well. Now, another question is, did you log it on your Untapped, and was it on there?
Of course. Yeah. If you didn't log it on Untapped, did you really even drink it?
Exactly right. Again, people, if you don't know, there's an app called Untapped, UNTAPPD, and it is basically a beer drinking app where you can log your beers. Again, you get digital badges and souvenirs, the ones you don't have to dust, So yeah, just don't befriend your partner with it, because they can then see how much you actually do drink.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, it fits with this podcast. It is a location based sort of app, right? Because you log in. You not only log the beer, but you log in the brewery, so you get badges if you get the beer from what they call the source.
Yeah, the source.
You got it from the source.
Drinking from the source.
Exactly. So it's so funny because I'm not a big beer drinker, right? But Untap actually motivates me to order beer.
Yes.
Like I'm drinking wine right now, right?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like, hey, this means if I drink beer, that means I can log it. Yeah. And if I get a flight, I can log 4 beers at one time.
Yes, exactly right.
We talk about that. We're a broken record. We talk about the same things over and over again. But,
it's
anyway, to round this up.
To
round this up, it was a great solo trip, and it wasn't, I intentionally decided, I thought about sleeping overnight, but I was just like, hey, you know what? I got some sports to watch this weekend, as you said before.
This is true.
And so I was, I have no problem. I actually enjoy the road. I enjoy driving. Yeah. It's very peaceful. It's very meditative for me. And that's maybe another advantage to solo travel is like, you can really just kind of get in your own head.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, for some people might be a scary place, but to really just do thinking, the road travel, driving alone. I'm not afraid of a long road trip.
Yeah.
By myself. I love listening to podcasts. I love, so
exactly.
That was me. That was just that was one day.
That was one day. So that's a day trip. That's a day trip.
Yeah. You don't have to like go to like, Italy by yourself. No, don't start there.
Venice.
Start slow.
Go to Venice and Germany, and
you should do that. You should do that.
But the thing is, you
start slow.
This is what we talk about all the time too, Josh, and that is get outside. You know what I mean? Even if it's in your own sort of backyard area, playing games like geocaching, etc., as well, takes you to locations that you probably have never seen before as a possibility as well. So you don't have to travel far. You don't have to spend a lot of money either to do it. But getting outside, getting fresh air, sunshine, it's probably the best thing to it. And Josh, you and I spoke quickly off air before we started the podcast, and you said something very poignant as well. You said to be a solo traveler, you don't have to rely upon anyone. You make your own decisions, and sometimes it can be very selfish. And we both agreed that, you know what, selfish is a good thing sometimes when it doesn't affect anyone else but you, if that makes sense. Yeah. You put yourself first because no one else is going to do it for you.
Sometimes you just need to give yourself what you need.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Like, what do you need? It's like self-awareness. It's self-care. Mm-hmm. It's mental health. So it's okay. It's okay to be quote unquote selfish sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's probably the number one thing that I love about solo travel is that you can do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. You can go wherever you want to go. Mm-hmm. You can eat what you want to eat. You can go to sleep when you want to sleep.
No, it's true.
And so there's real joy in it. Mm-hmm. Just in that you can do what you enjoy.
Exactly. Well, I'll say this as well, and that is, I'm the same type thing as you, Josh, and that is that I'll be caching away, you know what I mean? And I think to myself, you know what? I don't feel like another cache at the moment. Now I'm going to stop and get something to eat. I'm going to stop and get something to drink. And this is that's the good side to it. But there is a negative aspect to it. And the negative aspect is this.
There are some negatives.
This is the most negative aspect for me, and I'll give you a perfect example, and you're going to go, straight away. Alabama, for Bamarama, you, myself, and Tim, we'd gone to Bucky's and we'd had the brisket on the board, the sandwich,
brisket on the board,
delicious stuff, right? We'd been all day out caching, out socializing, out and around, out and about. I'm telling you now, if I was by myself after that, I would have gone straight back to the room and gone straight to sleep, and I wouldn't have been none the wiser. But this is what happens when you travel with
we were
people.
tired. We were tired. I was debating. Like we should.
You were even debating.
Night,
but this is what happens when you travel with other people, and that is, Josh, you saw this. We spoke about it on the podcast as well. You saw this guy was playing at the local bar area. Or can't remember what it's called now. But you said yourself. You said we'll go for just one song. That was it. And I was like, okay, one song. And we got there. And I'm telling you now, I think I had the night of, my time there in Alabama at that night, watching this guy puff away at his vape, playing his keyboard away, and just literally an old dude, but just literally rocking it out at this dingy dive bar location. I was just like, man, at the end of that, I thought to myself, I'm so glad that I'm here. You know, if I had been by myself, and this, as I said, it's positive and negative. If I had been by myself, I wouldn't have known what I missed out on, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And it would have been
having travelers, totally, and having travelers with you is like, can push you to do things maybe that you wouldn't think about or consider. Another example, same trip. Remember when we were like, we saw the go-karts and we were like, we should do that. We were like in geocaching mode, and we saw these go-karts, and we had let's be real, thank you
Gulf Coast tourism,
Gulf Coast Shores, because they gave us a pass to do the go-karts, and we're like, I got this pass, and they gave us like a lot of credits, and we're like, and we just had I remember you just laughing your butt off as we do the slick track, as I wiped out every time. I've never seen you were giggling like you were like a child, and it was just. There's a video of that. Please put it in the show notes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just the joy of you watching me completely crash several times,
again, right in front of me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that by myself, probably.
No, but I'll tell you why, and that is perfect example. Mario Kart. So you're Mario, and I was Bowser behind you, I'm the bigger guy of the two of us, so I'm the Bowser behind you, and you're just spinning out in front of me. I felt like I was chucking you the banana peels as you go past.
Totally.
So it brought back, I think, childhood memories a little bit too. So, yes. And I look back on the video though, Josh, and I look back and I'm like, we're not going that slow, surely. It felt so much quicker because you're very low to the ground. And here I was, thinking that I was like, oh yeah, I'm the fastest thing on here. These kids haven't seen someone so fast and so in control, because of my driving experience with my police work and stuff. But yeah, I look back at the video and go, oh, that's actually pretty slow, Craig.
Yeah, it was. But when you're so low to the ground, it feels like you're going super fast.
But in saying that, as you said, that's one of the positive aspects of being with friends and traveling with friends. But we'll get back to solo travel again now. So yes. My recent trip. What did I spend? I spent a total of just over 4.5 weeks on the road by myself.
Wow.
Yeah,
that went so fast, Craig.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you were out there for a while, but you were. That's a long time.
Yeah, and I did a circle trip as well, because I don't like to go over the same roads twice. You know what I mean? So I do a circle trip. I will say that security-wise, because I get asked that a lot about security. I'm a male. Maybe that's different for me as well. However, I do know the places where I can stay and the places where I shouldn't stay. And I have before pulled into places where I was going to stay. I've pulled in and I do I just do a little look around, make sure everything's fine. You have that. And if you get a feeling If you get a stomach feeling, a feeling in your stomach that it's not right, just go. Just trust that gut feeling, because that gut feeling is always right. It's instinct, it's that sort of instinct style. And it happened to me once on this trip, whereby I stopped and I was in a Cracker Barrel, and you know how much I love Cracker Barrels because they're so accommodating. Totally. They are very, very accommodating to all travelers of all kinds, whether you're camping in your car, sleeping in your car, for instance, and not even with a bed, or if you're in a fully decked out RV bus. You know what I mean? They're very, very accommodating. But yeah, there was one Cracker Barrel location where I went to, and I don't know, I just didn't feel right. It had like chain link fences, and there was like a little dingy motel hotel next door, and I went, oh, maybe that's not right. And so I got back in the car and I drove off. And as I drove off, I had a look over, and sure enough, there was like, it was an open carry state. So there was guys, there was guys there with that, and I'm thought to myself, that motel may be a little pimp house to the style of thing, like some ladies of the night work there. So I was like, no, I'm out of here. So that's what I'm saying, is just be self-aware and aware of your surroundings when it comes to safety.
For sure.
And you should not have an issue at all. So
for sure.
And
you know what? Let's acknowledge, like, yes, like you've said it before, like as a male, traveling around, it's different. And it would be really interesting, Craig, at some point we should seek out maybe a female van lifer and just talk about what the reality of, or even not van lifer, just traveler solo as a female traveler. And what that looks like, and things that they encounter in that moment. It's an everybody thing, but I think it's different for women.
It would be so very different for women. And it's sad that that's the case, but it is what it is. The other thing I will say, and that is when it comes to security, hide your footprint. Now, what I mean by hide your footprint is don't advertise the fact that you're staying in your vehicle at that location. So if you've got,
how do you do that, Craig?
If you've got blackout windows, put the blackout windows, the curtains up. I have. So for me personally, I've got the total blackout windows on the side, the back two windows, the back two doors, and also the rear, the total rear door itself as well. Then I've got these blackout curtains between the front part of the cabin and then the rear as well. So I slide those across. Wow. Nice. So yeah, I have it quite dimly dark inside when I'm in there too, because all I'm doing is I'm watching Netflix. I'm watching a TV show of some sort, and so that
looks so cozy. I see your pictures.
I
see your picture on Be Real, and it just looks like your little cave. Your little
cave.
It looks cozy.
Yeah,
your nest. Really, that's right. Your nest.
My nest.
Do you kind of just like look forward? I mean, I know you work all day. You drive, and then you work. You find a Panera bread. That's another maybe tip. Is like you get the unlimited drinks or whatever at Panera
exactly.
Club.
Yep.
But yeah, at the end of the day, you just look so cozy in your nest. Based on the pictures, it's like look forward to your nest.
And I think that's another thing. The feeling you get when you close off from the rest of the world, and it's just you. And you're watching your TV show that you enjoy. I've now got my fridge, etc., next to me as well. So I've got cold drinks on hand. I've got like a little shelf thing, so I can sit up at the back, and I've got my little shelf with my armrest and stuff going up too. So yeah, it really is. If you build out your vehicle the way you want it to be, if that's what you're going to do, then yeah, you can be very, very, very comfortable, and yet looks like no one's even there. It looks like a parked vehicle. That's it. And I think that's going to be the main thing for security reasons or security purposes. But in saying that as well, and that is, you said before, Josh, about if you're a solo traveler, one of the best things about solo travel is you can meet other people, make friends, or even just chat and socialize with other people.
Yes.
The amount of times I did that is insane. I mean, look, again, yes, I have a different accent to a lot of other people, a lot of other Americans.
You're very interesting when people are like, probably they listen to you talk and they're like, you're from somewhere else.
Yeah, and because I was in the southern states this time, and I'm like, yes, I'm more southern than you, and then that gets a laugh. You know what I mean? So
you're like, huh?
Some of them, but most of them got a laugh out of it as well. But a lot of the times for me personally, people have said to me, I can just listen to you talk all day long, all night long. Or they turn around and they go, what brings you to this town, whatever town I'm in?
They're curious.
And they're curious, and that's the thing I love about traveling in America specifically, because we don't have this in Australia. And that is the bars here. Literally you have, you can go in a restaurant and there's a big bar that just people who they're by themselves sit at. We don't have that in Australia. We don't have the bars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, we don't.
That's a real advantage for solo dining too, right?
Oh,
because a lot of bars in the US, it does feel kind of weird to be sitting at a table by yourself.
Yeah.
But it's totally normal to sit at a bar and have a drink and have your meal at a bar by yourself. That's exactly. It's like nobody bats an eye. Sometimes when they see you, if at a table, they're like, whoa. Wow.
Yeah, what's wrong with that guy?
That's a lonely guy.
or they think, oh, this poor guy's getting stood up from a date or something.
Exactly. But yeah, in Australia, they don't have like bars. Like,
no,
wait, I'm confused. What?
So we have pubs. We have pubs in Australia, and there's a bar around the pub. But that bar, you normally walk up to the bar, order your beverage, pay for your beverage, walk away, and go and we have stand-up tables, sit-down tables, all that sort of thing, and then you stand or sit away from the bar itself. We don't.
You don't sit at the bar.
No, there's no seats at the bar. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a great tip for solo travel. Sit if you feel weird, go to a place. That's what I did when I did Detroit Lakes. I was like, it's going to be weird for me to sit at a table. I'm going to sit at the bar.
Sit at the bar,
and I'm going to have my food and have my drink.
Yeah,
and nobody's going to bat an eye.
Exactly.
If you're worried about what people think, and I'm not really worried about that, but some people are.
Well, I've been here for 3 years now, full time 3 years now, and my wife, she travels a lot for her work, etc. as well.
Yes.
If I'm at home and I don't feel like cooking, I'll go out by myself here and actually sit at the bar and have a meal.
Yes, it's very normal.
I think you get better service here from the bar, like in terms of faster for meals and faster for drinks, etc. You don't have the waiter, waitress walking up and down, and, asking you, oh, is everything okay? Is everything okay? So it's very, very quick. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that person working the bar, they're very attentive to you. They're like, they know a part of the bar experience is, hey, I'm going to give you your drinks. I'm going to give you the food if you want, and then also I'm going to talk you up a little bit. Like that's part of the skill of a good bartender. Is to have some conversations with the people and have that, like, especially if you're alone. So
exactly,
that's a great tip. Find the bar.
Leading on from that to another great tip, and this happened in Rome, Georgia, and that is, we're walking down, or I was walking down by myself. I mean, yes, Rome, Georgia, we had a big geocaching event, etc. at Rome, Georgia. There was lots of geocachers around, lots of people that knew of me and you and I, and you got asked about. But overnight, I'd be walking down the main street, the center of town, and people were going into different locations and stuff as well. And there was a couple of really nice looking bars there. And then I saw this one, like a dive bar-ish sort of style. And it looked like there was no tables at the front or whatever. And then all I did was I peeked through the window as I was going past. The bar was full except for one seat. And I went, that's your my seat. That's my seat. I went in. It's like it's one of those local places where all the locals go, not the tourists. And so I walked in and everyone turned their head around, whatever. And I said straight away, is this seat free? And everyone looked at me then because of my accent. And so, I had a couple of beers there. I had some chicken wings there, and I had a great time there talking amongst the locals. And again, they're very intrigued. What brought you to our town? What are you doing with yourself? How are you traveling? Blah, blah, blah. And so all the questions come up. And all of a sudden, here I am. I was being alone the entire day, for instance, and then I go into a bar situation and I'm having like an hour, 2 hour long conversation with random people. But it's that human connection. You know what I mean? That I've missed for the last sort of few hours or few days even. So
and that's the thing. That's really interesting. This idea of human connection, because let's be real. Like Craig, I think I would say you really get energized by. You're a people person. Like when you go to a geocaching event, it's about the social. It's about connecting with people. Yeah, people don't believe me when I say this because they see my persona on video. Just because I'm excited about geocaching on video and I'm talking to a camera does not mean I'm an extrovert. I have very introverted tendencies. I much rather can have I love people. I love spending time with them, but I also love hanging out with people, letting down with people I know well. Right. So Tim, like I'm really more about deeper friendships than about having like than like going to like, it stresses me out sometimes to go like to in the situation you're describing where like I have to like engage a bunch of like strangers basically.
Strangers, yeah.
At the same time, I've had situations where I've been traveling alone for a week, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're an introvert. Every single human being needs human connection. I don't care who you are. And I don't know if you've ever found yourself doing this, but you realize there's a couple of solo trips I had that were like a week long. And I realized that I hadn't really talked to anybody for a long time. And then as an introvert, you're just like, I normally don't do this, but I know my need for human connection where I'm just like chatting up the gas station person. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't do this in my everyday life, but I know like, oh my God, I need some kind of human connection because I want to have a conversation with this gas station attendant.
I mean, that's exactly right. And I'm similar to you too, Josh. People don't think that as well. People think that I'm an extrovert, but people don't understand the difference between an introvert and extrovert isn't how loud you are in a group of people.
No,
it's about where you develop your energy, where you build,
where you get energy,
energy from. And I'm the same as you, and that is I get energy alone.
Yes.
You know, and that's why I'm a solo traveler at heart as well, because I build that energy by myself alone, you know, and I do the same thing. I listen to the podcast, you know, I listen to this podcast. I listen to several other different podcasts as well. Joe Rogan podcast, great podcast. And because his is like 2.5 hours long. So I can really do some traveling in that period of time too. So, and you just literally, you energize yourself by yourself. And then
and that's, yes. And that's the appeal because you get the best of both worlds because if you're an extrovert, you're constantly meeting strangers, right?
Exactly.
So you have so many opportunities to meet like new people all the time. But if you want to like go into your nest,
yes,
and refuel that energy, you can do that too.
Exactly. What's your favorite TV show at the time, you know, that you've downloaded on your iPad and that's now a TV screen inside your car? Like, absolutely. Absolutely. So there you go. Josh, we didn't really get into my going caching experience. We touched on it.
Yes. However, I just recently listened to the Geocaching podcast.
This is true.
Which you are a host of. You are a co-host of.
Yes, I am.
and so I would say, Craig, if they're curious about going caching more, I would suggest that they go listen to the most recent version of the Geocaching podcast, which you attended, and also Chad attended as well. If you want to deep dive into the geocaching world of going caching, which is just a great event, and the Geocaching podcast, the only call in geocaching. Yeah, you can actually call in.
Yeah, it's live
at 8:30 Central Time on Wednesdays. Do your math for wherever you live.
Yep.
And you can actually talk to Craig yourself.
Yeah, I'm the call in person now. I pick them up first when they call. So there you go.
But are there any from a travels perspective now that you've visited Rome, Georgia? Yeah. I've also visited Rome, Georgia. Yeah. Is there any like high level like interesting things that people should know about it that, wow, that was really cool about Rome, Georgia, or that was a unique experience or a great place to eat, or what are you were there for like 4 or 5 days, right?
6 days. And because I get 6, I was only supposed to be there for 4 or 5, but again, this is the other good thing about solo travel, Josh, and that is you are your own itinerary and it can be very flexible. As when we spoke to Magplan at that time in that episode as well, you must be flexible with your timeframes. Yes. And so I'd gotten in early to a particular location that was a beautiful little campsite, free campsite, and I was going to stay there the night. However, zero connection for phone signal, zero. So I had my lunch. I cooked my lunch there. I enjoyed it for lunch. And then I said, you know what? I've got plenty of time on my hands. It's only an hour's drive to Rome. So then I jumped back in the car and drove for an hour back to Rome. So that's why I spent the extra time. Again, though, be flexible with your travels. Now, we'll say this, and that is if you're looking at places to eat, places to drink, then Google and the Google Maps is your best feature. So if you're there for dinner near me. If you want a brewery near me. And then just look at either Yelp reviews or the Google star reviews as well.
Yes.
The Google reviews.
And I've been to Rome, Georgia. Their whole downtown situation is really nice.
It's really nice.
it has a lot to offer. It's not, it's a small town, but it's not a tiny town.
Exactly.
And there was just a ton of places to eat, ton of places to drink. There was, I remember like cool candy store, like the downtown Rome area is really nice.
Yeah. And me getting there early as well, I managed to find myself the one and only brewery in town. That's there. There's only one actual brewery in town itself. I found myself there at that brewery. I was talking to the head brewer, who was the barman at the time, behind the bar with another local next to me as well. Chatting about things. They give me tips about my next travels, where you're going next, and then they point me in different directions and different locations where I can find other breweries, etc. as well. I also found, Josh, this, I didn't know what it was until I actually got there. I went around the back, and I even spoke to you on the phone on FaceTime when I was at this location, if you remember rightly.
And you got stung by a bee.
Yep, that's the one. And you go like in this back door, and it's called the Beer Garden, and it does serve the local beers, but also other beers as well. And it's also a craft beer place. So it has all these different cans of craft beer. You name it, they've got it pretty much. But it's in these two shipping containers on top of each other. And so you walk up one of the stairs and there's the bar straight away, and you can buy your beer, buy your drink, and then walk back into the Beer Garden and talk to your mate on the phone and get stung by a bee. But yeah. So but yeah, so that's what I mean. They're the places that I found before anyone else turned up for geocaching. And I felt very relaxed, very comfortable. I knew the lay of the land then. So it didn't worry me after that. I wasn't missing anything by actually going around geocaching with everyone else. So there you go. One more thing I will say, if you are a geocacher listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to go back to Rome again because they're not having going caching anymore, which is sad, but it's understandable. You need to go back for one reason and one reason only, and you do too, Josh, and that is that the geocaching headquarters, along with Rome Tourism, have put out a very new virtual cache, which is an actual bronze plaque in dedication to the organizers of the going caching over the past 12, 14 years. And that is going to be proudly displayed in the park that's where the main event has always been.
Oh, wow.
On a big bronze plaque. So that's really cool. That is really cool. There was lots of tears on the Sunday when they announced it. So, Brian,
so that is Jim and Andy. Have been organizing that event for years.
Yes,
and for several years brought people to so many people to Rome.
Yes.
Probably brought so many thousands of dollars
to
that city. And the reason they wanted to bring people to that town is because they're proud of their town. And that's a damn rare thing these days.
You still have to do it. Do you know where that's from, Josh? Do you know where that's from? You always say that to our guests.
Hey, can I just say something about that?
Always.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question for our listeners.
Oh, okay. I'll be quiet.
If we created a T-shirt, a Treasures of Our Town T-shirt that said on the front, they're proud of their town, and then on the back it said, that's a rare thing these days, and then Treasures of Our Town podcast, would you buy it? Like we don't have any merch.
Well, we got.
I think it might be time. If the holidays are coming, I might have to go to the Spreadshirt store, and I might need to create the Treasures of Our Town podcast. We got some fans out there. We know we have fans. We know we have patrons.
We got patrons.
They would love. I think they would love something like that. So reach out to us. If that's something that you think you would buy or be interested in. Let us know. And if you're a patron, we'll figure out how to make it cheaper for you.
Oh, easy. We don't make any money on patrons. That's it. The patrons get it at cost price. That's because that's the same as GCPs. You do the same thing. Everything's at cost price of patrons. So there you go.
Yeah. Spreadshirt has a thing where I could create a code to make it wholesale.
Exactly right. That sounds like a great idea. How can people actually reach us if they want to reach us? What's the email address? There you go.
Yes, you can reach out to us at treasuresourtownpodcast@gmail.com. And here's the thing. We got a message on Buzzsprout on our website. So if you search Treasure of Our Town in Google, you'll go to Buzzsprout, which is like our official webpage.
Yeah.
And you can like contact us through that. I think you can even contact us through a button on iTunes, for example.
Yep.
It's so funny, Greg. Somebody did that this week. I just recently got it. It goes right to my email, and we can tell where it's from. It was from Rome, Georgia.
Oh.
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. I didn't even see that.
I'm looking right now. It's from Rome, Georgia, and all the message was hello. They said hello. So whoever you are.
Yeah, someone didn't reach out to me. Or someone must have seen me as such and went, well, I know him from Treasures of Our Town, so I'll message on that. So sorry.
So all he said,
if you wrote that.
all he said was hello. So whoever you are, hi, hello. See, we're responding to you right now live.
Yeah.
So and let us know. Do you want shirts?
Yes.
Treasure, do you want to solo travel? I don't know. So anyway, but I want to say our patrons are supporters. They enjoy it. This podcast, they support it. We don't have any commercials on this.
Nope.
And so we keep it free. So please join us at patreon.com/treasures of our town. We have several different levels there. We provide what we call golden nuggets.
Yes.
And this is extra content just for you. So please, if you're listening to this, enjoying it, please consider supporting it. It keeps everything going. It helps us pay the bills.
And how else can people find us, Josh, other than that?
Yeah, feel free to reach out to us at treasuresovertownpodcast@gmail.com. I said that before. Or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
So that's it for our show today. So please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting app. And as always, Josh,
may your travels always lead you to the most unexpected and amazing hidden gems around the world, even if you're by yourself.
Solo.
See you next time, everybody. Thanks. Bye. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.